Ryan, welcome. Very sad news. You've made that decision to retire. I suppose all good things come to an end. What was the underlying reason to make that decision?
First thing I want to say is don't be sad. I don't want anyone to be sad. The emotion hasn't hit me personally, but looking back on the times I've had here and the times we've had as a club, there's certainly nothing to be sad of. I guess the reasons are, if I'm brutally honest, the desire and hunger which has got me through the last 19 years just hasn't been the same. I've tried everything. I've probably worked harder this year than I have in any other year. But circumstances change, and I guess what's probably the most comforting to me, and one of the things I've always been aware of, is the group of batters coming through. And I think collectively we agree now that Feroz and Rimmers, young Dassie, obviously Pepper and Paulie Walter have stepped up, and I think on balance of those two things, now is a very good time to move on and get the next crop through.
Did your body give you any indication that perhaps it was time that you weren't running around the field for 90 odd days a season?
Yeah, look, I still felt very quick. I still felt mentally quite fresh. I didn't feel like it was a different predicament to other years. I've had a few issues with my knee. I dropped a few catches, which is something I've obviously prided myself on over my career. So maybe sort of subliminally the body was saying, look, you're not as sharp as you are, and that's obviously been a key component of how I played my cricket. Really smart and really punchy and just good at the very basic things of cricket, and obviously the older you get, it's a little bit tougher to do those things.
You said about drop catches, but in fact, at a senior age, shall we say, you've placed yourself at bat pad, which is really suicide alley, isn't it? And pulled off some tremendous catches there. So there was no question that the reactions were leaving you. I mean, you were really hot stuff there. But it was just the general wear and tear, was it?
Yeah, like I say, it's I probably couldn't put my finger on exactly what it is, but just subliminally, just sort of in the back of my mind, I'm not as sharp as I was. And also, look, when you're there to harm me, it's hardly suicide alley. You know where the ball's going to go. It's very rarely you're going to get one whacked at you, so it's actually probably the safest place to be on the field.
Yeah, but you soon know better if you drop one off.
Yeah.
You get the verbal suicide alley. Yeah. I suppose also it's important, isn't it, for your professional pride, and you've had pride all through your career. You've been a very fierce competitor. To make sure you went out at the right time. It's very easy, isn't it, to go think, I'll just have another year, and then not do yourself justice. And you personally wouldn't want to have been thought of by anybody by saying he went on 1 year too many. Was that an issue when you came to your decision?
A little bit. I think that's a very cloudy ground to go into. I don't think you either fall off a cliff or you keep going, and I certainly haven't done either. So, I wanted to see how the season went. I've said for the last 2 or 3 years, if I have a really good season or a really bad season, it's probably time to go out. The season hasn't gone, obviously, the way I wanted, but I think that's a characteristic of the dressing room, is that everyone knows what we're trying to achieve here, what's needed, again mainly from the hunger and desire point of view, and there was very little doubt sort of come the middle of the season. I was hoping I could turn things around in the T20, and even when that gets tough for me, I think the writing's on the wall, and my mind was made up pretty quickly after that.
But when you're sitting back, looking back from the young, naive lad that perhaps arrived in 2003, naive to what Essex cricket was all about anyway, to this day in 2021 when you'd made your announcement of your retirement, your career has just progressed on year on year, hasn't it? And that must give you one hell of a lot of satisfaction to look back on that.
Yeah, I think every professional sportsman wished they would have done things slightly differently, or I would have liked to have been better in other ways. But like you say, if you look at where we started and where we got to, there's certainly very few regrets and a lot to be proud of and a lot to be grateful for. So yeah, I'm very delighted how things have turned out for me and for us as a county.
I know since you made the announcement, the club have been inundated, and you have, I'm sure personally, with praise and plaudits that have been so thoroughly deserved. There are also occasionally, sometimes people bow out by making one last appearance. I think you've decided not to go down that route, haven't you?
Yeah, look, the decision was made to not include me in the Glamorgan game, which was absolutely right. You know, again, going back to that point where you had the young guys doing very well in the Royal London Cup, and just generally those young guys that felt like they were pushing and starting to find their feet. So 100% the right decision. And then obviously the question was, do I come back for a sentimental goodbye? I had my knee injected yesterday, which does come into it a little bit, but I also felt, you know, as a statement of where we're trying to go as a club, and at the end of the day, it really is about putting out the best team and giving those young guys now the space to grow. I thought I'd just come in and say a few words on the first day and let the boys crack on with the cricket stuff.
Well, consummate professional attitude from someone who's been a consummate professional and conducted yourself so superbly, both personally and for the club, all through your career. Thanks for that, Ryan. We do look forward to seeing you on Tuesday, when I'm sure everybody will be heaping their praise on you, and you'll probably come away black and blue from all the deserved pats on the back. So well done, and thanks very much.
Thanks very much.